And we're following developing auto news. One of the big three is on the hunt for a new CEO. The CEO of Stellantis, Carlos Tavares, has resigned. He's been under fire recently over the company's disappointing sales and disagreements he had with the company's board of directors. Recently, the UAW also called for the CEO's removal. An interim executive committee will run the company while Stellantis searches for a new CEO.
Today, we're breaking down some big moves and setbacks again in the automotive world, namely from Ford. Specifically, we're going to look at the production shifts for the Ford Bronco and how it's impacting workers, suppliers, and the overall automotive sector. But everyone should be aware by now, Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares stepped down earlier this week. Well, at the time of recording this particular episode, Jaguar sent the world in a frenzy while VW workers held the auto sector on an edge for over there in Germany. Currently, there's over 4,000 automotive workers in Germany currently on strike. And this has been a wild and bumpy ride in the automotive sector overall. But before we jump right in, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe and give a like if you have to go before the end of this particular episode, just in case, because information is coming at us so fast, it's hard to keep up. And I understand that time is of essence to you all. Let's jump into our first feature.
And we're following developing auto news. One of the big three is on the hunt for a new CEO. The CEO of Stellantis, Carlos Tavares, has resigned. He's been under fire recently over the company's disappointing sales and disagreements he had with the company's board of directors. Recently, the UAW also called for the CEO's removal. An interim executive committee will run the company while Stellantis searches for a new CEO. That search is expected to be completed by next summer.
And that's courtesy of CBS Detroit. Now, on to Ford. Ford is scaling back production of its Bronco SUVs at the Michigan assembly plant in Wayne. And here's what is happening right now. Take a look at this particular feature from IEN magazine. The link will be left in the description box below so you can go and check them out.
In January, Ford announced that it would be cutting back on production of its EV pickup, the F-150 Lightning. But the automaker had a plan to make up some ground. A large group of workers from the Lightning plant would move to plants producing the Ranger and the Bronco, two models for which Ford boosted manufacturing targets. Well, now that's about to change. Crane's Detroit Business is reporting that Ford will begin scaling back its Bronco production amid rising inventories and lower sales. The move will bring with it the need to relocate some 400 production workers from the Michigan assembly plant in Wayne to other facilities, though reports say that none are being laid off. Cranes notes that Bronco sales were down 10% through October and sitting on dealer lots longer. Cox Automotive recently noted that Ford's inventory of new vehicles hit a day's supply of 115 in October, compared to 85 average industry-wide. The production change, which Ford said in a memo would reduce our line rate to better serve customer demand for Bronco, is set to take place early next year. Meanwhile, collateral damage...
Yeah, I'm going to chip in and comment on it, so we're going to recap and go through it point by point. Well, mostly in summary, but you get the idea. Everyone right now is feeling the pinch. And customers are the ones who determine the market, not policies. Customers do. Let's continue.
May already be underway. Some industry observers have speculated that a spate of layoffs announced by Michigan auto supplier Webasto Roof Systems are potentially related to Ford's pullback on the Bronco. Webasto, says Cranes, notified the state that it plans to lay off 218 employees as a result of reduced production by a customer, though that customer was unnamed.
See, 218 people are going to be out of a job from one particular customer. You see how the parts department, well, the overall parts supply sector is a vital link in the supply chain, rather. Let's continue.
The Journal pointed out the Ford Bronco program was one of the largest for Webasto. Capping off a tough week for Ford was the coinciding announcement that the automaker would reduce its workforce by 4,000 in Europe and the UK by the end of 2027. In more bad news for the Bronco specifically, earlier this week, the NHTSA announced a probe that looks into whether an April Ford recall involving the Bronco Sport and Maverick pickup was effective. At issue is a problem where the vehicles can suddenly lose power. a circumstance that a handful of consumers say persisted even after the recall fix was performed. I'm Anna Wells, and this is Manufacturing Now.
Thank you, Anna. So let's recap a little. Sales for the Bronco have dropped by 10% through October, and that's just less than a month and a half ago. And many Broncos are sitting longer on dealer lots. Why? Because the market will always dictate what goes on. And remember, Ford is the leader in recalls in the North American market, experiencing engine failures in the Bronco just last year. And this may have helped cause Ford's new vehicle inventory to hit a 115-day supply in October again. Well, and this is above the industry average of 85 days. Relocating workers is softening the blow, as Ford has been in the news too many times reporting setbacks, cutbacks, and underperformance. So although Ford says there won't be any layoffs, the shifts highlight challenges in aligning production with the current demand right now. And one of Ford's key suppliers, Wabasto Roof Systems, is already feeling the impact. And this company plans to cut 218 jobs, citing reduced order from an unnamed customer. This particular customer has a profound effect in their supply chain. Parts manufacturing is a direct link in the supply chain. I cannot overemphasize that enough. And if vehicles are not moving, then people will go. That is the largest one-off expense for any company. Today's policymakers have no idea how a supply chain works, and it's all about collecting taxes and appeasing activists based on what is happening, because ever since the EV mandate was announced, amid the global pandemic, things should have been getting back to normal, but manufacturers went ahead and they uprooted everything to dump into EV manufacturing. But we're going to take a look at the bigger picture now. Challenges were created in the market. Ford's production shifts don't stop with only the Bronco. Earlier this year, Ford slowed down the production of their F-150 Lightning, and workers from that program were reassigned to boost Ranger and Bronco output. Now, Bronco production is also getting scaled back, and this raises questions about how well Ford is forecasting consumer demand across its entire lineup. And then Ford announced plans to cut 4,000 jobs in Europe and the UK by the end of 2027. It never slows down. And these reductions are tied to a broader strategy to streamline operations globally. It's the same rhetoric every time they go and announce that they're restructuring and reconsolidating their efforts. Now they have the NHTSA holding the microscope over them, and that's the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration in the United States. And the problem now is that they have a recall in April targeting an issue where the Bronco Sport and the Maverick pickup will lose power just suddenly. Overproduction hurts margins, especially when vehicles sit unsold for months. Then we have interest rates and economic uncertainty that has dampened demand for new vehicles, especially higher priced models like the Ford Bronco. For Ford, it's a game of adjusting quickly without losing momentum. And the Bronco slowdown is just one of the pieces of a larger puzzle. How they handle this and other production challenges will set the tone for 2025. Well, let's go back to Stellantis a little. While Carlos Tavares' resignation is just the start, Stellantis still faces a mountain of challenges. And it's not only them. This goes for what's going on right now. And here's what I personally recommend. They have to overhaul their pricing strategy to reflect customer value and addressing inventory issues by scaling back production. They have too many vehicles right now. They need to get rid of what's there before they start going into auto production. And so they have to relook at reforecasting or make a supplementary budget of all the production that they had already planned out for the rest of next year and beyond. And they have to realign their product strategy to fit distinct market, the market in the United States and Europe. So Ford, Stellantis, GM, Nissan, VW, the ones who are always making the news, need to get better at predicting what customers want. Reputation management is at stake right now. So they have to go back to the drawing board and get back to basics. So what do you think? Will the CEO for Ford and GM be next? Will this leadership change help Stellantis turnaround, or is it too late? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to grab a copy of my ebook, The Parts Manager Guide. Please smash that like button on your way out. It will only take you 1.5 seconds to do so. Until next time.